Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Google off of his second channel, Gart. And today we've got ranking spring 2024 anime. So I always like checking these out as for two reasons. One, to see if he liked the same stuff that I liked in the season, and two, to see if there are recommendations for stuff that I missed, because I'm looking at this season and I don't think there's a lot of stuff to check out. I mean, we're still very fresh into it. I've got a few things I've been adding into my watch list, watch episode ones of, to see if they're potentially any good. But it's always nice to just have a quick look back, see what we potentially missed, see if there's anything in this video that's worth going back and checking out.
I thought I'd do today is I thought I'd go through some of the spring 2024 anime and just do a tier list. I haven't done a tier list for a while. There are a lot of shows that aired in spring 2024. I basically watched everything for my spring 2024 first impressions. This is more going to be a debrief on some of the shows I kept up with, some of the shows that I ended up watching more past the first episode. I haven't finished everything. Okay. I've watched a decent amount. This might be a little bit shorter than my other tier list videos because I want to more focus on the shows that I ended up watching more episodes of. Even though watching anime is my job. Once I do my seasonal rundowns, I don't really keep up with a show unless I really feel like there's something more there. These are just the ones that interested me the most. First up.
Now, I really want to know if this is a binge-worthy one, because I felt like this was a lot of me. I've worked in bars like before, done cocktails and that, and as soon as I've seen like a video of him discussing, I've seen a clip where the guy's discussing the certain types of gins and why you should use them in certain cocktails, and I was like, oh, this is sick, but is it good?
We have Bartender. Now, the reason I watched a few more episodes of this was because I was a big fan of the original Bartender. At the time of recording, I've gone through about half of this show now. This show is just vibes. How do you explain that you really like this show about a guy who basically just makes the perfect drink for whatever customer is being served there to fit whatever mood they are in? The original stood out because it was like very episodic. Every new customer that came in the bar had a different backstory. And depending on that backstory, the bartender would choose a drink to perfectly complemented what they needed with whatever troubles or whatever life problems or whatever thing was going on in their lives at that moment. And it was just a very cozy show. This new version of Bartender, it's completely kept that same vibe. It completely kept that same cozy vibe with a big difference, which I actually enjoyed, which it stopped being episodic. This was much more of a character-driven show than the original one. This one had a more of an ongoing storyline.
I think a lot of anime have fallen out of that episodic trope now and do seem to have more of a character-driven approach to it. I've noticed that a lot of anime that you watch nowadays, it never just does this happened in an episode, this happened in an episode, blah, blah, blah. It's like ongoing, and I appreciate that.
Of these girls trying to find the perfect bartender for their very prestigious bar, and they happen upon the bartender in the picture there. And one thing that sometimes I laugh at these like anime moments, right? Number one, the drinks in this look refreshing as every time I watch an episode of this, I'm like,
thirsty.
I kind of want to go to a bar now. I kind of want to get a drink now. But I will say, now that I've lived in Japan, the big difference is I know some of these drinks because I've had some of these drinks before, and there were some points where my suspension of disbelief could only go so far. Like the very first drink the bartender serves is a highball, which is like, put things in perspective, it's like, I guess like the Japanese equivalent of, is there like a Western equivalent? Like a vodka Coke or something. The most bog standard drink you could get at any bar or club here in Japan. And this girl drinks it like it's like the best drink she's ever had in her life. Motherfucker, this is just whiskey soda, man. I thought that was very interesting to see that this wasn't just about always the vibes, always about serving the perfect drink, but there's a bit of like character arcs and plot progression in there as well. I'm gonna give this one a B.
All right.
This was a solid show. Everyone's like, oh, B, mid, or B. To me, B is like solid. All right. I haven't watched Blue Archive. Aside from a few episodes, I did not get it.
Isn't this based off of a video game?
I do not understand it. I just wanted to put this up on here because it's just... Blue Archive fans, what would you rate this, Blue Archive fans? I would say that it is very well animated. And then, so, watch like 2 or 3 episodes. I was like, this probably isn't for me. I keep seeing scenes pop up on my Twitter. What's up with the feet scene, guys? What is it?
What?
Are you guys actively trying to beat the allegations? It's law accurate. I would like to know, because I was curious, because maybe I'm going to start playing the Gacha game. I don't know. Yeah. I watched a few episodes out of curiosity to see, hey, why do people like Blue Archive? Why is this such a big hit? Maybe there's more going on than meets the eye. From what I've seen out of context, you guys aren't beating the allegations at all. I'm not going to tier this since I haven't watched enough of this. I just wanted to ask. I just wanted to ask you guys. I'm gonna make a new tier list just for Blue Archive. Moving on to Jellyfish.
Was this good?
Can't swim in the night.
I was intrigued by this one. I was very intrigued by this one.
I believe. I will say this was one of my highest anticipated shows coming into this.
Look really cool.
And the first few episodes, fucking fantastic. And then I felt like it just lost a lot of steam. A lot of people are saying the ending was rushed. Yes, I would say the ending was rushed. I completely agree with that. But aside from that, it just felt like the personal stakes just didn't feel as urgent. It almost felt like the second half of this, I wasn't as invested in what these girls were trying to achieve. It was like the second half was just so much more messy than the first half. The first half was really, really, really good. I liked it all the way up to whatever the episode with the mum going through her idol arc.
I feel like sometimes anime, maybe when they try and cram it into like 12, 13, you know, just do one core. Maybe sometimes they need a little bit more, but obviously production companies and that just go, no, you've only got the 12 or 13 episodes, and then I feel like they do well pacing it at the beginning, and then it's like, wait, we've got to get to the end, and then, yeah, a lot of anime seem to fall into this trap of pacing it well at the beginning, and then, oh no, we've got to cram so much.
Everything up to then, that was like super interesting character drama, super interesting personal stakes. Everyone had a very, very interesting story, and I was like, oh, okay, this is building up. This is going to be building up to something really, really emotional, really, really good. I'm getting invested in these characters. And then I just kind of like, I don't know, it just wasn't as interesting anymore. Like, I was expecting it to be up here. The more episodes that came out, I was like, all right, it's A tier. I don't think it's bad enough to be B tier, because I still think the first half is still very, very strong. Right, okay, I would still put it at low A tier though. I think A Place Further Than the Universe sets the bar so high for like cute girls.
God damn, I still need to watch that. That is still in my watch list on Crunchyroll. It's been how long?
Doing amazing things that I was expecting this to be on a similar category or of a similar caliber. And unfortunately, while the first few episodes really did make it seem like it was going to go that way, it didn't.
Oh, random sidebar. Can someone please explain to me why Crunchyroll, I've seen online, I didn't know if this was true or not, I might have to check actually, is apparently Crunchyroll removed all the comment sections from all their videos? I think that's crazy. Someone explain why.
End up delivering the more episodes that came out. All right. Next up, Slime Season 3.
It's still ongoing. What are you talking about? It's still ongoing. It's still ongoing. You can't rank this yet. You can't rank this yet. It's really good, though. Although there are points where it's like, oh, there's a lot of talking and a lot of explanation, which I really don't mind. I prefer it. But at the same time, show don't tell is always a really good way of explaining things. But I do appreciate the whole, politics within Slime now.
I've been talking a lot about Slime because I had heard a lot of people talking about a lot of different things about Slime. As a big fan of that time I got reincarnated as a slime, I'm a big fan of this, and I have read the manga, and I didn't think I was gonna go out and watch this because when the season came out, people kept talking about it, being like, oh, it's bad, it's and they were like, oh, it's meetings upon meetings upon meetings upon meetings. And I was like, well, I kind of like meetings, especially in like a isekai civilization anime. In the manga, at least, it didn't feel like it went on forever. There was always progression in the meetings. So I was like, people are probably just exaggerating this a bit. And then I watched the anime and I was like, holy shit, this is so fucking fucking slow. I was like, I only watched a few episodes, but I think the big thing is that this is anime, and with manga, you can just read through at your own pace,
That's
right? You can
true,
read through at your own
yeah,
pace. And so it felt a lot faster when I read this in the manga. And in the anime, it just kept going on and on, episode after episode. And the worst thing is, it wasn't like there was anything interesting going on in terms of like the visuals. People have done interesting dialogue scenes in anime before. People have found a way to do interesting conversation and do meetings in an interesting way. Slime did not do that. Slime was just like static camera, static camera, static camera, static camera, and then there's like barely any movement into anything. I am probably not going to finish the season. I am probably just going to continue reading the manga. This is like C tier for me. Here's the secret about being an isekai trash.
Was this
fan
any
like
good
me.
as well?
You can get the same template. Guy goes to a fantasy world, finds out he has something special, takes advantage of that power, gets OP, yada yada yada. You can take that template. What me, as an isekai trash man, looks for is just that one thing it does differently. And the thing that interests me about this one, so his power is that he has an appraisal skill. So what that means is that he can see everyone's stats about what skills they will excel at. Maybe this one has an S tier potential in archery, this one has an S tier potential in diplomacy. And so what he does with that is he's able to recruit the perfect team to basically run this kingdom. And that was like the interesting part of me. So I was gonna say, chat, someone in the chat say it. So this one is low-key a HR isekai. And as long as there's something that goes on that is an original idea that I haven't seen before in isekai, that's all that really needs to happen for me to get hooked on it. I just thought this was a concept that I hadn't seen before. This one also goes in the beta. Before we get to Konosuba, speaking of other isekai this season, a lot.
I've purposely left Konosuba so that I can binge it. But it'd still be intriguing to see what he thinks. But I was reincarnated Seventh Prince.
A lot
of people talked about this.
Up Seventh Prince.
Yeah, loads of people
Seventh Prince, the best power fantasy isekai, the best power isekai, S tier. I didn't like it. I watched like 6 episodes to see what the hype behind this was, and I was like, what is special about this isekai? I don't understand. All right, number 1, we got a little Shota boy who is like obsessed with magic. He gets reincarnated as the 7th prince. I keep calling this an isekai. It isn't even technically an isekai. Same fucking shit, basically. Why are you giving him that character design? Why are his thighs so thick? Every single shot of this kid, I was like, damn, he got them hentai thighs. Number 2, as I've already mentioned, I like the one thing that gets me invested in an isekai is just seeing like a new idea, I guess. I can see that this was an anime that did not really take itself seriously. Obviously, it's about this boy. It's meant to be like a fucking, I guess, like a funny show. In terms of like a self-aware show that doesn't take itself seriously, after seeing Eminence in Shadow, I'm just like, this does not hit the mark at all. The animation was above average. A lot of people were calling it great. From the scenes that I saw, it was like decent. I didn't really get the hype behind it. This is like slime tier for me. I only saw 2 episodes for... The only thing I remember about this anime is the girl and the brain rot OP. And I was like, this doesn't seem like it's gonna go do anything new. D, it's goofy. Well, yeah, because if I were to judge this on the 2 episodes I watched, it would be here. Am I wrong? Next up, we have Konosuba Season 3 to round off this isekai segment. Now, I am a big fan of Konosuba, and obviously Konosuba is one of my favorite isekai, and I don't really have much to say about this. It's just more good Konosuba. It's really good to see the gang back together again, and I think this might be, in my opinions, it fell off hard. I disagree. Like, I don't think it's the best season. It's definitely not the worst. One of my big issues with season 2 of Konosuba is some of the jokes started to get a little bit repetitive. I felt like this season felt way more fresh. A lot of the comedy of this season felt like it played less on repeated jokes and more on just the pure chemistry between all of the 4 different people. I felt like they got that spot on. Konosuba is at the point now where you can just stick these characters in different wild situations and just let their characterization play out.
Sweet. Like, I'm glad I watched the movie. Like, I watched the movie and then I find out that the season 3 continues after the movie. It's like, yes, thank goodness. So I'm going to watch Konosuba season 3 now during spring season to catch up with it. Yeah, because I'm still figuring out what shows within summer spring season. I'm still figuring out what shows I am sticking with in summer, as we're still freshly into it.
And it's just going to be bants. And that's exactly what happened. I'm still a few episodes behind, so I don't know how this one resolves itself. This one is basically the Always Sunny in Philadelphia Isekai edition,
nice,
and I really enjoyed this one. This one delivered this season. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one an S tier.
Nice.
Next up, we have Train
what the
to
hell?
the
There's people
End
fighting? What the hell? All right, cool. Sure. Whoa! I thought it was just girls on a train.
The world. This was another disappointing one for me. I'm about 7 episodes through this one, and if you remembered when I watched the trailer for this one, I thought that there was an inkling, not even an opportunity, like a hint that there was going to be this big turn or this big reveal or something that really changes up what the story is, because the story in episode 1 and 2 is just very weird. It is cute girls do cute things, but just in a weird setting, and I thought there was going to be something interesting that happens, because I was like, oh, maybe there are some dark things being foreshadowed here and there. Maybe there's going to be a dark turn, and then this is going to be like, the fuck is that zombie anime? School Life, yeah. There was going to be a twist or this dark turn, and then it just ended up just getting like weirder and weirder. Yeah, it was cute girls do cute things a lot of the time. This was just a bit too weird for my liking. It was better than these two, but definitely wasn't as good as these two. Let's just put it like low B for now. Next up, we have Windbreaker, which I did end up watching almost every episode of. I have gone on record to say that I am not the biggest fan of delinquent anime. Don't really have any drive to see Tokyo Revengers. I have seen some delinquent shows. There's one thing that you can't say about Studio Cloverworks, and that is that they make bad looking shows, because this show has great animation, like all of their other works. The fight animation was good for this, especially the one in the very first episode. It's almost like a martial arts film, where a lot of it is just very long shots that are unbroken. And normally with action scenes, you have like 20 million cuts per action scene. This one, there was just like so many long shots, and I was really impressed with that fight choreography. So the action in this was very good.
But
that was pretty much it. Maybe there's one thing that I find that I can't get over with delinquent anime, right? So these are a bunch of fucking high schoolers who act like they're a fucking Yakuza gang, man. These fucking high schoolers, they get into like gang fights, and it's like it's life or death for them, man. It is life or death for them. They're like, I will revenge my friend. And I'm like, bro, it's just it's fucking high school, man. Joe, bro, chill, man. Number 2, though, I just did not find a single interesting character in this. I would be invested in the cool action and cool fights if I actually gave a shit about any of the characters. It's always this thing where every one of these boys need to have a little bit of a quirk. Ooh, this guy's a little bit strange. This guy talks a little bit weird. He's a little quirky. There's this one Genki guy that's like, oh, shobu, let's fight. And I'm like, all right, every character is like quirky. The main guy is so fucking tsundere. It actually physically pains me how tsundere he is. I didn't really enjoy this aside from the kick-ass animation. I wish I could get into delinquent anime more. I would say this one's a high B for the animation.
Okay.
All right, next up, Kaiju number 8, the shonen adaptation, the big new shonen IP of this.
I love the manga for this. I didn't watch the anime. I had every intention of watching it, and I didn't. Let's see what. Yeah, is it worth checking out?
season. So I had only read the first few chapters of Kaiju number 8 coming into this, and then afterwards I stopped reading and I waited for an eventual anime adaptation, which did eventually end up happening. So we got the anime, and it's by Production IG, and Production IG did a fantastic job. It was a great job all around. No complaints about the animation at all, or the execution of some of the fight scenes. In terms of the story, I do like the fact that the main character is in his 30s and he's a little bit older, and that is very, very rare to see that. Don't call him relatable, chat. I don't relate to him at all. Shut up, chat. And then they didn't do as much as I wanted with that. I don't know if we're too early in, because a lot of the times he still does act like that same righteous 15-year-old goody two-shoe high school shonen protagonist, except they just, you know, slapped a number on him. I would have liked to see a little bit more in terms of like him being a bit more mature, using his wisdom at his 30-year-old wisdom.
Jesus,
Everything else was pretty much standard shonen action affair. Nipple peeing, all right, I will give it that. That is pretty new. I've never seen nipple peeing before. And it was good. I very, very much had a good time. The shonen formula works for a reason. All right, we've seen it a million times before, but it's a different setting. I do like the kaiju aspect of it, but there is no different from like him being a kaiju, from like Kaneki being a ghoul, Eren being a titan, whatever. It's like main character wants to destroy or like wants to exterminate X thing, and then it turns out he becomes X thing. Though probably my favorite scene out of this is the fact that he is a half kaiju. I don't know what he is right now. Maybe he's like maybe he's a half kaiju or kaiju human hybrid, and he had to hide that fact even being on the kaiju extermination team. That was my favorite aspect of that. Aside from that, cool kaiju fights, cool action. It's a good time. It doesn't do anything too new, but it's still a solid A for me. My Hero Academia.
Now, isn't this still ongoing? Because I've purposely kind of like, well, not purposely, I watched the first 2 episodes. First episode was pretty decent. Second episode was a bit like, and then I was just like, you know what, I'll wait. But isn't this still ongoing?
Yeah. I've only watched a few episodes of this. How many episodes is out? I had high hopes coming into this season of My Hero Academia. I actually think
because the last season ended on such a big like, whoa, what's going on?
Previous season of My Hero Academia was one of the strongest seasons I'd seen thus far, and with some of the things that it was setting up, I was like, oh, okay, this is going into a really, really interesting direction and introducing some interesting characters.
She gets killed off really early, doesn't she?
You know, expanding the world of My Hero Academia to outside of Japan, and then something happened and I got salty. I was salty because there was a direction that I thought this new season of My Hero Academia was going to go, and then it didn't go that direction, and then I was like, I'll catch up to it later. I'll catch up to the rest of My Hero Academia later. As it stands right now, from when I stopped watching this season, I don't know how they're going to make it interesting. I don't know how they're going to make it as interesting as the previous season. As it is now, with I guess like half-ish of the season that I've seen, it was shocking. I'll give it like a low A. Depending on how the season goes, it might be there. It might go down. If it does something interesting, it might go up. Okay, girls.
I might have it so that I do Konosuba and My Hero Academia and them as my 2 little catch-ups for the season. If I don't pick up a lot of shows this season, because there are a couple I'm just like, whoa. Every Sunday's boss, Tower of God, that Sword and Wand, My Dear Friend. Those are 3 I'm definitely watching every Sunday. So Sundays are sorted. Sundays, I love it. And every Sunday I'll be doing like little funny reviews for them on TikTok. If you want to check me out, check me out. Type Pixel Party Pals in TikTok. Yay.
Band Cry. I'll tell you what the spiritual successor of Bocchi is. Yeah. We have fucking found it. What a good show. What a great fucking show, man. Have I been tricked into watching an idol anime? Idol fans. Let's just squash our beef for a second. So a lot of people keep telling me, hey, can you please stop calling girls bands cry an idol anime. And the reason I initially called Girls Band Cry an idol anime is because the first episode structurally felt very similar to an idol anime. No, they don't play idol music, but the thing that really like took me out, I'm like, oh, is this a fucking idol anime? Is when at the end of the first episode, you have this girl going into a new place. She, you know, meets this other girl playing the guitar. This other girl has beef with two people on the streets. They run away. And then for some reason, at the end, there's this big climax where they all come together and then they do like a show together. Yeah. And then I'm like, why are the people they were just beefing with? Well, I thought you guys were literally arguing with each other. Also, I believe the director of this directed Love Live? Idolmaster? I can't remember. The reason this stands out is because the writing and the drama is absolutely top tier. This is what I expected Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night to be. This show delivered where this show disappointed. Next up, we have Delicious in Dungeon. Now, I have been putting this off for way longer than I should have.
Like, doesn't his wife, Sydney, like it? Isn't she a big fan?
I think a big reason was after Frieren, I needed a little bit of a break from fantasy, and I had heard good things about Delicious in Dungeon. So I did not keep up with this weekly. I did not watch it for a very, very long time. And right now, I am not as far through as I probably should be right now. But from what I have seen, I am fucking impressed. S tier for me. Dungeon Meshi has some of the most interesting world building I've seen in my life. It is a show about people who go to dungeons and you learn about the dungeon and then they feast on whatever creature, animal, mythical creature they can find. I can't remember the last time when it comes to world building, there has been this much thought and this much detail put into the smallest aspects of how this world functions. Every creature that they eat or every explanation of the different creatures that are in there, the writer has taken these very famous mythological beings and they have put their own spin on it to make it seem like, okay, let's put thought into if this creature actually existed, how would it function in a way that not only makes sense for its own biology, but how does it fit into the overall ecosystem of the dungeons and of the world of Delicious in Dungeon. And it's just super interesting. The token levels of world building. Yeah, right now, every time I watch an episode, I'm like, I am getting hungry to cook a meat from a creature that doesn't fucking exist. I don't have too much to say about the cast and characters right now. As I said, I'm not as far ahead as everyone else because this is a 2-core series. But from everything I've seen right now and from what everyone has said, because the first 8 episodes have already like impressed me a ton, and I don't see that going down at all. This is just a fun time. It is vibes and the world building is super fucking interesting. But yeah, I'm not sure if I enjoy it as much as Konosuba. It's like same tier. It's S tier. I very much enjoy it. Where's Demon Slayer? Let's do Demon Slayer next. Demon Slayer was airing this season.
Oh gosh, so this was so boring until the last half of the last episode. Well, actually no, last episode. No, fine. Yeah, the last episode in its entirety was just pretty freaking cool. Like, the whole explosion at the beginning with Muzan and everything and everyone coming in. That was really freaking cool. Yeah, alright, fine. First 7 episodes were boring, and then episode 8 was like, yo!
Yeah. It was alright. Not much to say about this. Build-up season. I thought the vibe was off. I didn't know that this season was...
It's like the weirdest training arc I've ever seen. Like, you didn't even really feel like they'd done much to do the training, and it's just like, oh, now you're off to the next one. Well done, you've done my training, off to the next one. Nah, I don't like you. You can go to the next guy. I was like, what?
Mainly filler for a lot of it. I did not know that. I went into this expecting another season of Demon Slayer, and I hadn't felt this before ever since I watched Naruto or something like that. It is a training arc. One thing I will say and give praise to is that it used the filler well in order to give more time for each Hashira. Each Hashira basically got an episode to flesh out their character a little bit more. And I liked that aspect of it. Having said that, during these episodes, I came into it with the assumption that all of this character time with each Hashira was in the original manga. So when the storyline started playing out, I was like, why does this feel inconsequential? Why does the vibe feel off from normal Demon Slayer? I don't get it. When I really started to suss it out was when they had half an episode, or it felt like half an episode, dedicated to paper airplanes.
Yeah,
I was
that was
like,
weird.
Okay, why are we doing paper airplanes here? What is
why do they know what planes are?
To the character. So then,
why do they even know what planes are? Do they have planes? What's going on?
I go up and I go research it, and I was like, oh, okay.
It was made up, right?
This is all filler. This is all anime original scenes. Okay. It's a B tier. That's pretty much it. Second to last show, Go-Go Loser Ranger.
I stopped watching this, but I don't know why. I was finding it quite interesting. I think I'm on episode 7 of it.
Or Sentai Daishikaku. I enjoyed this one a hell of a lot. This one had a very, very unique concept. Yeah. Haven't seen it before. It's basically The Boys season 4 is airing this season. I haven't watched The Boys season 4 yet because I've been watching Sentai Daishikaku. If you didn't know, this is basically
The Boys season 4 is quite disappointing as well, if I'm honest.
The Boys Power Ranger edition. You have a world where the Power Rangers do weekly shows against these Monster of the Week type monsters, but really they are just the henchmen that they have to repeat every week, where they fight the henchmen and the henchmen lose, and it's always scripted. But eventually one of the henchmen breaks off and he tries to kill the Power Rangers. And I thought, okay, this is a very, very interesting beginning. And then it continued to get more interesting when the whole system of the Power Rangers got introduced, where it's not just like the 5 Rangers, but there's a whole academy of Rangers. Every Ranger is trying to vie for the top spots. And of course, a lot of the Rangers are dickheads, because this is very, very similar to like The Boys and stuff like that. This would be an S tier show, but there is an entire arc surrounding this exam without really spoiling what really happens with the exam. And I just felt like it went on for like a little bit too long. In 5 episodes or 6 episodes of them going through an exam arc, him basically fighting off against these different cadets who I don't really give a fuck about. I don't really care how people become Power Rangers or that whole aspect.
Ooh, I think I'm about to get into that then. I think the episode that I clicked off on was them doing a bit of training. He argues with someone about stealing his kill. Or, no, he wanted to save someone. No, it was stealing his kill. And alright, so that sounds like it's about to start there.
Right. I care about what is going on in this world. How are we going to defeat the Rangers? Can we just get through all of these characters who I don't really care about as much as the top tier or the top Rangers or their subordinates? Those are like the more interesting characters to me. I don't really care about the cadets at all. I enjoyed it a lot. This was a very, very good time. Last up, let me sip some tea for a second, guys. Last up, we have Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2. Mushoku Tensei, the peak of all isekai, the peak of all character writing, the peak world building, the peak everything. Or is it? So, I have opinions about this season of Mushoku Tensei. Everything that I'm about to say right now is excluding episode 11, which I just watched yesterday or the day before yesterday. Episodes 1 to 10. Fucking S tier, man. S tier, easy fucking S tier. God, this is just more Mushoku Tensei, and it arguably had one of the best episodes of Mushoku Tensei out right now. I mean, obviously, you see the animation quality of season 1 was fucking god tier and almost looked like a movie as well. But number 1, the audacity to air episode 10 on fucking Father's Day. Yeah. I don't know if this was planned.
That was bad. My god, that episode got me right in the freaking feels, and then it just kept going.
I don't know if this was planned, but if it was, I have not seen this level of disrespect and audacity ever since Zankyou no
Paul,
Terror aired its 11th episode on September 11th.
Oh my
the thing
God.
about Mushoku Tensei that always stands out is just no matter how slowly paced the episodes are, I would actually say a lot of the first half of this season I might have even enjoyed more. But I also really enjoyed the writing and the arcs to do with his sister and Rudy just learning to be an older brother the older brother he should be, and really just making sure and being like overprotective and kind of like having this realization of the type of effects he has on his sister's like emotional state. I thought that was like super fucking interesting.
What I think is extra interesting as well is that it actually pays attention to the whole fact that it's an isekai and it's a person from a different world, because he's always like, I should care about this person, but I don't, because they're not really my family, because I'm from a different world. I know I should care, but I find it hard to. And I think that adds to it, because it makes sense.
And no, there was like no big fucking dramatic thing happening, but to me, that's where Mushoku Tensei shines the most. It's the character writing, it's the small moments, and the lessons that you learn with every action you take. Then, episode 11 happened. I got told by some people in the fan base that this one's gonna be a filter. I was like, I can't be filtered out of Mushoku Tensei. This shit peak, man. How the fuck am I going to be filtered? Bro, I'm not filtered out, but I have not screamed that hard at a TV screen since reading Domestic Girlfriend. Swear down, man. Roxy's so base.
Yes,
no, you guys are so fucking wrong, man. She could do a fucking errand, commit mass genocide, and you'd be like, yo, the holy relic, though. The holy relic. Things were done in the final episode of Mushoku Tensei. Let's calm it down. Decisions were made.
Yes.
At the time of this recording, the final episode has not come out. So my opinion could have changed, because a lot of what I'm about to say very much relies on how the final episode plays out. Spoilers, because there's one thing I'm going to have to spoil. I have seen a lot of talk about this episode of Mushoku Tensei, especially down to the fact that it's going down the harem route. As soon as it did that, I was like, doesn't surprise me. Did I believe for a second that Rudy was going to be faithful to his wife? No, not for a single second. We knew the type of person that Rudius was. What he did was
in character
a dick move, and what Roxy did was also a dick move. They both did things that were not great and did not show their character in a positive light that I don't think you can argue, right? Even if all parties are okay with a harem ending and a harem route, the manner in which it was done felt a bit dickish. The biggest thing I couldn't stop thinking during this episode was, what does Rudy learn from all this? It really felt like they were rewarded for being a dickhead. The fact that we went through such a big character arc to cure that part of his depression, and then this part, which should seemingly be like a much bigger deal, it was just like instantly solved in the weirdest way possible. And for the first time, it just felt like the writing was off. And I would not give a shit at all if I thought Mushoku Tensei was on the same level as your spicy domestic girlfriend, as your renter girlfriend. I would be cheering for this shit. But
okay, yeah, I do get where he's coming from. Yeah, because it's not that genre. I was kind of like, oh, I was shocked. But like, same time, it's fictional. I got people like being like, oh, supporting polygamy and this, the other, blah blah. And it's like, okay, yeah, within that world of it, like, I think it's a very interesting story. I don't think it's okay here. You know, like, we've had it established. Paul had 2 wives, and other people do all that stuff within that world. They're okay with it. I personally wouldn't be. Not my cup of tea. But within that world, it seems to be its thing. So, cool. It's a work of fiction. I don't think, I don't agree with it. If I'm like, that's pretty interesting storytelling, it doesn't mean, yeah, okay, and we can bring it back and it's okay out here.
To me, Mushoku Tensei was like peak isekai. So that's why I'm being so harsh on it. I don't know how to rate this. Because it all depends on the final episode. So we'll have to see how the final episode plays out. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I shall see you guys next time. It won't be a while since I'm in AX, but I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Fair enough. So, Konosuba Season 3, definitely going to be catching up with. My Hero Academia, maybe slowly keeping up with. I don't know. You know, see how my watch list plays out in the next few weeks and then come back to them. But thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of a video and want to be able to watch patron-only reactions such as the original Dragon Ball series, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? You guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys, all you guys, next time.